Everybody say, okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'll start reading Koon's intro again. Born in a village near Canton, China, Koon Woon immigrated to Washington State in 1960. He earned a BA from Antioch University, Seattle, and studied at Fort Hays State University. He is the author of the collection Rice Bowls, Previously Uncollected Works of Koon Woon, Water Chasing Water, and The Truth in Rented Rooms. His poetry appears in Premonitions, the Kaya anthology of New Asian North American poetry, among others. He has also published a memoir, Paper's Son, Poet When Rails Were Young. Woon is the publisher of Goldfish Press and the literary journal Chrysanthemum. He lives in Seattle. Welcome.
Good evening.
Okay.
First, I would like to apologize beforehand if I start coughing. I have one of the worst colds and cough recently and still hasn't gone all the way. I'd like to read my first poem, mainly for Susan and Robert, who when they read this poem, they said, well, we should invite that guy for lunch or something like that. So we met in Seattle in a cafe and they bought me a breakfast. Coming are the days. Perfect weather in the onset of autumn, with maples turning 3 or 4 shades. The luxury of the sun slanting while the city is still tourist heavy, with vine-ripe grapes bunching as in families, and the wine on table telling full and round stories. And so I asked myself, will I ever go to Paris and sit in a sidewalk cafe and tune my poetry as I would a guitar? Whatever the tune, the earth is beginning to spin, wheat and apple heavy, to a golden harvest, then toward winter. I'm 75 years old now, so maybe it's toward winter. And the Washington and Oregon share the coastal highway 101. And this is one of the highways that runs through Aberdeen, Washington, where I first set roots. My parents had a small Chinese American restaurant in Aberdeen. I grew up there, went to high school there and worked for my parents and worked briefly for the post office and went to college and transferred to University of Washington later on in Seattle. Coastal Highway 101, 1960. It was in effect a river of sorts. The ocean returned its water across vacant hours at the slow crossings of afternoon in the low blood sugar towns while the pale lights of taverns burned. The barber sat in his chair listening to the vacuum tube radio, the cigar vending machine full of Indian hen nickels, the Emerson Hotel with its dark stairs leading to dens of vacancy. It was in effect a town of sorts. The ocean lapped its tongue here, mudflats harbor mussels, loggers shook dice with schooners of beer, while the sky threatened rain all day. Chinese cooks diced string beans a mile long, their work expanding to fill the hours, the Pacific tides contracting, expanding across the pretense of commerce. When small fishing boats returned with Dungeness crabs, 3 for $1. It was in effect a time of sorts. High school graduates still stay in town, and pulp and paper mills saturate the air, spelling jobs in fair shake for small town homeowners. These towns were strung along Highway 101, the scenic route to Pacifica, California, was surfing was just getting on newsreels, and soda was still dispensed in cold glass bottles. It was in effect a life of sorts when Vietnam was still some unfamiliar place in the Orient, and Ricky Nelson was a traveling man with a pretty gown every port. And the price was right every night, and Groucho still hit his marks. Those times and places burn like LSD, flashing and burning into the next century. But basically, it was a time before waking up to the enormous world has a stir, while the miser still counted his pennies. So before I get into the Aberdeen poems, I'd like to lighten up the reading a little bit with a cat poem, a nonsense poem. Cheshire, none the worser. There was a cat from Cheshire who loved salmon with Worcestershire sauce and fought with his arbitrary owner who claimed to be the boss. The cat was named Fat, and the human fellow was known as Splats, who lost all his money at the stocks when it fell all the way to nil. And so the fellow's wife, known as Lil, divorced the potbelly SOB and left the scene with all the fleas. And so Splats got on the ledge and fought the battle full-fledged. He finished a bottle of gin, then fought the wind, took the dare, and descended down the air. Meanwhile, Fat finished the salmon and was rolling contentedly on the ground when Splats exhausted the lively air and hit the sidewalk with his head first. People stood and stared and gawked and all agree he was indeed the human fellow named as Splats. Maybe that's a little gruesome. Okay. This is a love poem of sorts. So lost. When the fox trots in the snow, the days of it, whiteness, blankness, so lost in it as I am in the labyrinth of your hair, the contours of your body, so lost I am, my ancestors had no names, were unknowable, like fractals, like sugar, sometimes in it and sometimes within it, in days, in weeks of it, the snow, the forgetfulness. The weather of our lives, what is disguised in it, the form of the fox, at its nose tip a snowflake, with the wind whipping the snowflakes around him, and he is so lost. So lost I am also in the realm of your voice, your pleased smile, the love is a gift, the necessary gift like a dowry. And so when the fox come to the edge of the village, to see the smoke and steam rise from chimneys, the houses come alive, he then knows no childhood's shame, nor any shame, and so he dreams of warm, rough bread and hot ale, that through the years a fox could do worse. And a man, the infinitely sad creature, if not this, all this which he has done, which now seems to have been necessary, and to forsake this, he could do worse, a lot worse than to be lost, so lost in it, the blankness of the page, that somehow the aroma of bread can rise from it. This was my first book, published in 1998 by Kaya Press. It was a finalist in the Norma Farber First Book Award from the Poetry Society of America, and it won the Penn Oakland Award, Josephine Maus Prize for Literary Excellence. And it chronicled a lot of places I lived and places I've been, because after coming to this country, becoming a student, a good student, when I went to college, I sort of lost track of myself and drifted around, became mentally ill, and had a serious breakdown and took decades to recover. And while I was recovering, I wrote poetry. I went to Nelson Bentley's workshop in University of Washington. That's where I met Dean Brink. He'll be here with his class tonight. He's now a professor of Japanese poetry in Taiwan University. This is a poem similar to places I lived. It's called An Old Hotel Dweller. It's a sonnet, by the way. Smoke detector paged me down these halls. Cooking port snouts, no doubt. My arthritic bones rickshaw me down center rocks to the toilet stall. Old Sam likes to read old papers and fart alone. First the check is laid, then mice noisily come. And then daughter moves to another town. Old photographs and plaster can become down. When old Sam sneezes, he discovers he's lame. And 8 flights of stairs lead down to the snow. The women in the washroom will only say, "May the Virgin Mary give us more hot water." Oh, ages like this, old Sam has been told. But I'm still living, though life is a bother. I hope I won't be a putrefying mess on the next rent day. This is Aberdeen, 1966. Actually, it was a poem I wrote later for a poem written for a class that I couldn't do right the first time. So we wrote it years later. Aberdeen, 1966, or Driving Around for a Poem. Driving behind a logging truck with dancing flags pinned on the logs, I listened to Norwegian Wood by the Beatles. Miss Freeland wants a poem for a creative writing class. In the post of sawmills, I cut this logging town into board feet with my 55 Plymouth. I tend to forget the manure to give us red delicious or this memory. Between windshield wiper swings, I hear the tucks blast. Perch and red snapper flap on Scandinavian boats. Neighborhoods with Older Reasons Digest in Finnish or Polish editions. Catching a glimpse of a girl at the SH Crest coffee counter, I think of the book on the book back seat, 11 Kinds of Loneliness. The doctors in the antiseptic Becker building can't take away this and other pains of a small town. It's near Christmas. My little brother peeks out the window of the car. He's promised hot dogs and ice cream for coming along. If a pretty girl raises her umbrella, I'll write a long poem. No such luck. We cross over the Cosmopolis to see boys fishing the wish car for sturgeon. The car is damp, the heater doesn't work, and the monotony of rain and window wiper swings. I think I have a rhythm to beat the words against. My brother and I set over hot dogs and milkshake at the drive-in going out of town. I spent some time in San Francisco in North Beach area. In fact, I live a couple blocks from Ferlinghetti's bookstore, Cedar Lights bookstore. At that time, I had no idea that I would ever write a poetry book and that would sell in his bookstore, that he would even write a blurb for it. My book, this one, which he wrote, "These poems set 1,000 horses galloping in the Asian diaspora in which so many are caught." This is the poem about San Francisco. However deep the night, I expect morning. Fog rolls into the valley, rolls when my mind goes into the evening. As the rhythm of the city syncopates my walk, the roar of jets, the whispers of beggars, parks have the statues. In this city, I know, know where to find the best soup, while often the bands play and pigeons flock above the heads of idols and unknown heroes. Not far from my tenement above Stockton and Vallejo, I played Go from a book. Rains of light and rain fell silently, equally on doorknobs of silver or copper. This town dreams are altered by Andy and Val. Fight domestic while mice noisily come. They do not expect morning. I think of crimson electric when morning sun rises, arriving like a Chagall painting. A man flows up to kiss a woman from the Bolshoi Ballet. I'm writing to you as I do, ever so remorseful. The windowsill announces this rain outside, but your purring here has begun in pulses of 8 to 80. As you break the night once more again, I write to you as I do, and writing yourself as yourself do, on onion skin, the lightest of verse, the lightest of verse, the lightest of verse. This poem I try to get right for about 30 years, and I still don't have it right. But it's good enough now, I guess, for midnight. Midnight. What human business best done at night when candles burn to provide light? What military posture is best in day, executed in the simplest way? The heart without convolutions will eagerly answer a midnight knock, while a heart coiled in darkness is apprehensive, barking dogs. In the dark time, the eye begins to see the foul hearts on the ceiling above, shamelessly espousing brotherly love, its white sugars added to saccharine tea. Brothers, just give me a simple love, as delivered by the feather of a single dove, then I can turn the corner past midnight, winning the war without a fight. Okay, a lot of people go to Chinese restaurants, they hear a lot of noise from the kitchen, usually these are family restaurants. The father yelling at the wife yelling at the kids, and they banging the walk, and they like a gong psalm. People don't know what's going on, but everyone's food is brought out from the kitchen. So my family has such a place in the called the Hong Kong Cafe on Simpson Avenue in Aberdeen on Highway 101. I work there as waiter, cook, manager sometimes. And this is called a smoke break at the nuclear command. We multitask, chop, grill, walk, and pickle. They're fickle, can come all hours, drunk, after sex, before meetings, during greetings, hucksters, gangsters. No telling who wants what, stir fry, steam rock hot with eye in Bubba's eyes, head in Bubba's eyes. My father at the meat block hacks spirits, carves bone from chicken, minces onions, 6 cents chow mein, French fry the sausage, whip the gravy, beat the eggs until you can fool the young into thinking that sperm yanked from a calf. Smoke signals say the pork chops are burnt, the white sauce turning yellow as the waitress ladles soup. Sounds like feeding at the zoo. Chopsticks tingle from a corner booth. On and on, motors start and stop, door open and shut. Ice water set down as menus are tossed. You need a minute? Mom is helping the girls to wash glasses and teapots. It would be sinful to run out of hot mustard during the rush. My father drinks my coffee and I smoke his Marlboro. 2 cowboys in the drive cattle drive fending off rustlers. And damn, the waitress at the women's toilet has overflowed. We're going to go fishing as soon as our mental breakdown's over with. And we're going to take a smoke break from the nuclear command. Just then, a party 12 comes in. Well, put two tables together, like a man joining a woman, the yin and the yang, and kids with yo-yos, with family doing family business, money for school books, mom's dentures. It wasn't all that fun for me in the Aberdeen because we're one of the few families of minorities there. And my parents didn't allow us to date white girls or anything like that. So we just work and suffer and read, medical books for pornography. Okay. A drive to nowhere. Like we just jumped into the car. It was variously a 55 Plymouth, a 61 Comet, a 60 Plymouth again. Where would I go? There was no one I know on a Saturday. The weekends, the dreaded weekends. My search for psychic sustenance began with this 50 miles drive to nowhere. The family restaurant would be busy on the weekends. I would need to work until 3 in the morning on both Friday and Saturday nights. Amid the grease vapors and the clanking of the wok, steam from the noodle vat and steam table, I was 18 and still a senior in high school in the coastal town Aberdeen, Washington. There are the towns, the freeway mist, and Richard Hugo's poetry. The rain was melancholic and it dripped and slanted all day. It was trapped being number one son of a Chinese immigrant family born to Kim and Bill, who operated the Hong Kong Cafe on Simpson Avenue, which was on Highway 101, as it slices through the logging town of Aberdeen, where logging trucks carried the long logs with dancing red flags on them to warn the drivers behind it. The road goes up to Forks, Washington, and eventually to Port Angeles. It's loop around the Olympic Peninsula and going south. The same two-lane road will lead to Pacifica, California. I worked variously as waiter, cook, and occasionally manager. Except for work and study, I was lonely and alone. I was so lonely I read Silas Marner in my room during the holidays of Thanksgiving, Christmas, the only 2 days that we closed the cafe. My parents had undergone the worldwide depression in their youth in China and in the Sino-Japanese War. I was so lonely that the book in the back seat of my car, 11 Kinds of Loneliness, was actually a good dialogue with an imaginary companion. I knew the writer in the sense that he knew me. He knew my loneliness. It was a small town and there were few minorities in it. And there was a black janitor at the smoke shop cafe owned by the mayor. I suspect he was there for a reason, just like the only black student at the local Grace Harbor College was a football player. The black janitor seemed to recede into the wood panels at the cafe dining room as he mopped it during idle hours. I remember I kept filling the coffee cups of the girl with the dark Spanish eyes that came along or with her sister, mostly alone. She drank her coffee black, and I was an awkward waiter in the slow hours in the afternoon. She and I never chit-chat. I never learned her name, but somehow I once summoned the nerve to ask her whether she lived at home. She said she lived away from home, alone, as long as she doesn't get into trouble. It's okay with her mom. She was a year older and dropped out of high school. I was also a part-time worker at the Aberdeen post office, and I drove the postal truck 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, picking mail from street boxes. And then Saturdays, I had the downtown walking route. I had a regulation uniform on. I felt like a worker, a government worker. The way out of town was a windy road, evergreen on both sides, a monotonous green was first shooting up 30 to 40 feet. There were new growth, and I was a fourth generation immigrant to these parts of lands. I was wondering how far I could go and how I could rise. But all I could think of, envision, was driving a modest car and work at a Boeing and perhaps have a son and daughter and live again in a modest house befitting of an electrical engineer. Everybody in high school said I could have become whatever I wanted to. I didn't go that far. I drove to Ocean Shores and back then in 1968 and it was in only a one street along the beachfront with the birds of crabgrass waving in the wind. There were summer homes that people did not live in during the winter. It was fog and winter mist as described by Ken Kesey in his novel, Sometimes a Great Notion. He was talking about the rose in Oregon. Here the crabgrass rose from the sand in occasional gold, and the slow sloshing waves greeted my loneliness, and I encountered no other cars.
Thank you, Koon. Really appreciate your reading.
Thank you very much.
What an exciting life. I was on the opposite coast, so it wasn't as thrilling for me.
Well, Chinese have a curse. May you live in interesting times.
That's true.
May I say something about being in the Northwest all these decades? It's so wonderful to hear you talking about places that I've been.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they say about my poetry. One of the good things about my poetry, I can describe places.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome our second reader, and then we will have time for an open mic. English-born and educated lover of poets Robert Burns and Theodore Rothke, David Gilmour has been writing verse since his teenage years. These days, he conducts interviews with poets, new and experienced, on KTAH Radio, Tacoma. Of late, his friend Koon Woon has introduced David to a colorful coterie of Northwest poets and helped him appreciate Chinese poetry, ancient and contemporary. He belongs to several poetry circles and salons, playing the role of MC. He continues to march against America's wars. Thank you for that, and welcome.
Thank you very much. Well, I probably don't have references to too many places. I thought of a poem that had nitats in it, which would please some Oregonians, but actually I'm going to start in a rather simple, maybe childlike way. Simple poems so I can warm up a little bit. You might say nonsensical nonsense poems, but the first one, November Lawn Crew, would be nonsense if it hadn't been true. November Lawn Crew. They cut the lawn today. They were cutting the frost today. They were nipping at Jack Frost, not vice versa. Nipping. Yeah, nipping is right. Not the scythe arch swipe, a good John Barleycorn snap the hack at back of the knees just after the best of summer. Theirs today was but a tender shave to take away some green, to preserve some green, to force up some green, to make for themselves some green by nipping at the blades stuck up above the velvet moss as they cut through the frost, cutting the lawn today. Another one that has some coldness about it, chill. I thought I'd get over these chilly ones first. Winter ritual, breaking bread. Cold, concrete darkness, pine tree groaning overhead. Something swinging in the wind, wild whipping of the tips of the limbs, but not the limbs themselves, frozen, creaking. One came down, crack, landed on the cradled loaf she was carrying before her on the stone platform beneath, crashed on its covered crust in the icy, brittle chill of evening. Sourdough it was, baked warm and ready for fingers to break from its cozy nest. But as I have said, it was the limb it was that broke the bread beneath the rocking boughs. Oh, the baker? Oh, she was shaken, shocked as though disarmed, battered and patted with fronds of pine, but otherwise unmarked. Now I'm going to a childhood memory. It's perhaps about as far away as I'm going to get to England and my childhood. I called it chestnuts at one time, but I've since there's so much about tobacco in it, I called it later on tobacco ode. The days of acorns, walnuts, and horse chestnuts, 12 or so if memory serves. We smoked from pipes, as clear as yesterday, in an old and beautiful world. The fields, the walk through the fields, the countryside spread out for miles, far beyond construction sites and mud and rock hills, bulldozed and ready for new roads out of town. Out by the Shire farms where the trees still stood wild, and a bull watched the file of boys tramp through its grasses. There, the house with its dark gamekeeper, and his dogs. So long ago, a fairy tale. The trees, those ancient oaks we spiked to climb, when early autumn gave its sign the nuts were ripe. Old Gaffer and his dogs just couldn't grasp why we would risk to climb the oaks to join the birds and squirrels in their nest. He'd scratch his head and puff a bent pipe in his jaw and keep the dogs at bay. The sheer beauty of filching golden acorns for a pipe to come. At home, I'd raid the trays about the house for longish ends, even stole the odd one or two, senior service, Navy cut, or players with the Jack Tar pictured on the packet. They smelled so sweet before the smoking. Then came the choking horror of the smoke, hard to get used to. But there was nothing sweeter than the camaraderie of 2 or 3 bosom pals with stolen tobacco, having a choke, pretending or flailing the hand, cupping the lit end in the palm. Oh, lungs in their throats, yes, through their noses it came, casually releasing it in streams into the foggy blue air. How important to start young, we thought. To start the silent drawing of breath in acknowledged secret, forbidden togetherness in which talk was all you had, big talk, things that needed to be said together while the air was thick with unclean breath and the face changed to its new mask and even stopped the clock. Now something a little bit more, I don't know, grown up, but wild imagery that sometimes poets write hardly knowing why they write it, perhaps because it's so late at night that you write it, and those wilder images come in the wee hours sometimes. This is called depth gauge. Standing on the sunlit bank, throw yourself into the stream, shadow and all, if you are in substance ready to plumb the depth. The experience you suffer daily is enough to appall. Immersion in that material swamp, contents, not the forms. Viewing the off-season family theater from the crack in the stage door. Star-struck neighbors hanging around, stiff with drink. Animated bags, stalking before the floodlights and backtracking into the barren set. There's furniture. Sure, the place is packed, but furniture just for the sake of mood. You are seeking contact with the wild world, aren't you? Beyond the daily tragedy, where unnerved furies can be temporarily tamed by gut-busting laughter, or where a saint, though crowned by an atom bomb blast, afterward stands an icon on a gentle knoll, glows like the smiling Dalai Lama. Hey, forget those black light dashboard skeletons in this scene. Do you really need the wisdom of bombastic Agamemnon? Forever fearful of the bathroom? That can't help much. No, for the scientists and the poets, creative data abounds to study humankind in ways beyond the norm. You know, fragrant thoughts of forests in Borneo, and the FM band humming B.B. King, the bard singing Hummingbird, just on the verge of twilight greening. Come on then, the bull has been sacrificed, the ram has run, the fish have played upon the horizon in the celestial stream these epochs. If you are going to enjoy the water, fall, sun at your back, throw yourself in, shadow and all. Now I'm going to, I'm interested in archaeology as a classicist. I loved ancient ruins, and I've been to see some in Greece and Italy and Turkey. This one is American, the famous Chaco Canyon ruins down in New Mexico, just off the road of Cuba, down below Santa Fe. Extremely interesting sets of kivas and small villages that are called pueblos. This was Pueblo del Arroyo, Chaco Canyon. In that desert, I burn to ask, in that desert you chose, in that dusty wash, did little fishes swim? Did the people learn to swim? The sky moving around when at night you looked up in wonder at the mighty river? Was the tail of small bear hanging in a festive tree? Or was the fang of the snake the nail on which the twisted pole was hinged? We still tilt around and hang beneath. The acacia by the Pueblo wall, towering height above the sandy banks, did it shade pale lizard from coyote's pelt? And forgive my urge to bring to light the bold macaws, the playthings of young women, drawing laughter from antics on a perch. Did they take their names from stars? The fine rock layers along the walls, those mortared gems around the kiva, laid finest around the outermost rows, and to the last in innermost rooms of villas. I yearn in wonder to amplify mind What did the workers tell the stones? Or did they sing them as mosaics into lines? Oh, brazen tribes of Anasazi, you walked in beauty everywhere when the heart of your city was quickened by mighty thunderclaps. The sudden rain, a flourish of time for constancy. But then the evil winds came spooking, not dancing in seasons step by step, but merely hooting from a chasm like my appalling ignorance. Ah, as climates of the mind have changed, forest trees were once combed as coyotes' hairs by the wind flooding through them, as yellow grasses on endless bristling plains. Then the kiva slabs rang with joyous beat. The smoke rose fragrant throughout the night. Canyon caverns echoed the wistful flute, echoed the dry rocks, echoed the lofty walls. And as to our folly, we count gold and riches a font. You perhaps knew in your earth Blake's grains of sand. Civilized in the strains where sweet water was deemed the best thing of all, for myriadal melons, maize, and beans, the grains of sand now remain. Old Troy once bounded the blue Aegean, well fed from eddying pools of flowering xanthus, the name the gods gave that river banks. Wide-walled Ur once stood firm in broad Euphrates. Wells men dug to Apsu bubbled fresh by salty deeps. Now gone, all to dust and sandy tells. But here in the canyon's twisting creek, where did the winding waters of Chaco seep, dripping for Anasazi lips to drink? The acacias on the river bend, now black and brittle by the bank, leaves perhaps hid green lizard from coyote's stare. The ochre cliffs unmarked with rings, the water fell, they say, downstairs. What god was danced last through the great kiva to engineer the ether's flood? What story was his final song? A follow-up is one about the solstice dagger of Fahada Butte. The sun on the solstice day in times past did come through a very small slit in specially layered rocks, and the sun on the solstice pierced the crack and hit a spiral that had been gouged into a flat rock facing the layered rocks. A very interesting experiment in time and the movement of the earth. This is called departure. There are no real Anasazi living there anymore in any later tradition, and but still, Chaco is being built, and a lot of it is by indigenous workmen working to put in new wall pieces, and they have just recently found a brand new kiva there, not too long ago. So by this LiDAR X-raying of the earth through the laser, they have found another kiva to explore there. So there are things to come in Chaco Canyon, but no people have been found. Departure. Time is not important in the walled world. Everything that ever happened still is outside, just the forms have shifted. When the people left Chaco villas, left Pueblo del Arroyo, left the kiva songless, There was a long prepare for that silence. The past was a long opening for Earth's next embrace, as the river acacias prepare still for their fresh watering. Gathering sand, the while in swirls of dust, as the trinity of rocks on Fahada Butte prepare for the sun's dagger to strike the center of the spiral, marking Coyote's stopping place on his long journey round. Even the spiral rock did not stay still. It slipped away, the sand beneath blown free by wind's persistence. It was always slipping, the sand always preparing to fly. Enduring sand, sifting, listening for the rain, intensely dry, ready to be impressed by the wind, smoothed by the sudden stream. In Kiva's experienced eyes traced the planets through the smoke curling from the prayer pipe. The rain was prepared for by much labor, the precious drops announced by much goodwill, from cooperation in silent prayer and patience, cumulative small moments, storing up invisible change that the stones told the moving sky from pounding steps, dancing down from the clouds. So that is imagery of an ancient world. And now I'm going to, I hope this just brings people's spirits up. I thought I'd have to lift a few spirits in the days of disinformation and the horror of events in the world. An encounter with frogs. We need something that's so changeable. We need to change. There's a lot of changes needed. And this frog poem seemed to do it for me when I wrote it. Encounter with frogs. What is an impression worth? A frog in a jar of ruddy leeches. When I see frogs, I think, frogs. Frogs are good to think. The matter of frog experience first floats, then sinks, mostly unknowable, spuriously into the spawning pond of memory. It's a rich Seminole soup full of eyes, magnified, each a natural universe. These eyes are vocal once they spring, breaking through the skins of things, in season, everywhere, everywhere, and then they're out. Wonders of compromise, they extend themselves to bridge the poles of water world and padded land. And the extensions can be perceived from the eyes as orderly change, clear and strange, as leggy fish with iguana tails, as animals flying on all fours, fully outstretched, twice their size, jumping, climbing piggyback, unabashedly clambering onto one another's backs, orange on orange, green on green, clinging colorfully, eyes bulging. Oh, they seem a surprise even to themselves. When they leap from the dense compact of bone and skin, the plastic tapestry takes shape as lightning bolts or spotted lilies on fresh green waters. Frogs are naturally good to think. They take inside as part of insubstantial self, changing orders, cruising through the classifications. Their songs defeat the ears. Allegro, the rhythmic noise communicates, encroaching on all other senses, setting forth reverie. Bulrushes against the moon and stars, spiked grasses on the mirror lake, edging the weeds where sedge warblers are sleeping on blue eggs. The scene you see cannot be forced, cannot be tidily arranged by science or dulling habit. My eyes within no longer truly see. There they swim in thicker waters as comets, shooting across neural galaxies where they reconnect icons from a blade of grass, the rest, the moon, stars, pond, echoing ripples across, shattering the constellations, ruffling the lily pad and its camping amphibious motility, making the connections symphonic, concrete, like visiting forgotten shrines. So much depends on memory. Glazed frogs transporting, déjà vu, faint essences of flush meadowlarks from the nesting spirit to wild flights of fancy, each a winged message, calling, answering unasked questions. My gaze, pilgrim in a landscape, painting itself inside me, inviting me to choose the color and the brush. Oh, this is a risky business, uninhibited mind blooming, thinking on the odd chance a relevant word will leap the illogical impasse.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank
What
you.
a wonderful journey we've been on. I love your frog poem. Thank you so much. I think
Thank you very much. Enjoyed
it's
it.
a visual. It's the visual. Now it's time for our open mic, and welcome all you poets. This will be fabulous. Down at the bottom of your screen, there's a thing that says reactions, a button, and you can see a raised hand. It says raise hand. And if you want to read, just press that button and you'll be in the lineup to read.
Dale, I have to go. I'm expecting a call from my son and I don't want to interrupt things. So I'm
Well,
going to say
Can
thank
you
you to
read
the
first,
reader.
Judy?
I don't
You
have a poem right here, actually.
Oh,
Thank you.
well, next time bring a poem.
I will. I promise. I promise. Thank you both so much to the poets and to you, Dale, for hosting this. But
Thank you.
I have to go
Thank you
off
for
before the
coming.
phone rings. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And if you don't find that button, I can see your hand, David. I can see your hand, Stan. So let's start with Shirley Mark. I see your hand. Stella, would you like to read first? Stella is also from China, and I told her she could read 3 poems, or two poems, however many, instead of just one. But you have to unmute yourself, Stella.
Okay. Yeah, I was born in Fujian, China. It's a southern province of China. My family moved from Taiwan to from southern China to Taiwan in the 50s. And at that time, this poem is about my father and his friends. How do they plan their future? Since we were all new immigrants to China, to Taiwan, Taipei. So this poem, the name is called "Father Assumes His Squatting Position." When father assumed his squatting positions, he rested his weight with both heels flat on the ground and balanced himself by putting his elbows on his slanting lap, a posture which I associate with peasants and peddlers, not refined as the scholarly tradition of sitting at the desk, studying calligraphy and reciting a classical poem. In our one-room dwelling, Father prepared tea while squatting at the edge of the low table. First, he drenched the tiny cups of teapot in a large bowl with boiling water, packing the tiny teapot with tea leaves to the brim. Father poured scalding water to quickly strip the imperfection from the rugged dark green leaves. He extracted the essence of the tea into the brew, the way the early night air brewed the dew. Serving tea in small cups required steady hands. Repeated the ritual demanded devotion. Squatting, Father added charcoal to the stove, which warmed up a corner of the room. Around the fire, he and his friends sat on lower bamboo stools, their cheeks glistening, voices rising. Dark hair, not yet gray. They would go on scheming how to market beef jerky, procured according to their old way, or compiling 4,000 years of history into a scroll presentation. They dreamed of making a name for themselves. And
Thank you, Stella.
thank you for listening.
Shirley, Mark, would you like to read? You need to unmute yourself.
There it goes. Okay, can you hear me all right? The quiet. The quiet as I walk around the house. Not even my feet make a sound or a squeak in the early morning light. The times of much hustle are gone after all these years. I turn on the gas fireplace, yet it makes no crackles or pops like wood fires do. Just the roar of the heat of the flames in the chimney. I am alone for the third time. The quiet fills me with happiness and sadness, yet it is so soothing and refreshing in one big breath. I like to be alone with my thoughts, or no thoughts, suspended on a thread of spider silk, dangling in the space of here or not here, of just being. It's a beautiful beginning again.
Thank you, Shirley. That's lovely. Sue, would you like to read?
Sure. I just came back from a Thanksgiving trip to visit everybody in California, and this one came from my trip on the way home. And I hope the Spanish explains itself. A little Spanglish to go. I hear the waiter before I see him, balding, reading glasses at half-mast, the voice of a mariachi tenor so loud the tequila glasses rattle, and the red tinfoil stars sway from the adobe-colored ceiling. Widow alone again, halfway home, I said adios in San Jose to people who knew me as a little girl, to niños who know me as their tia, to memories on every street, to mucho more brown eyes than blue. Ay, California, mi corazón. I am returning to the snowy land where waitresses call me hun, or miss, or sweetie. But here, lit by Coors and Corona signs, The tenor says, "Hola, señora." Un poco respect. I like it. I hola him back and order the carne asada tacos con rice and beans that taste like my mother's frijoles, pintos con un poco de pork. The waiter argues with the cook in angry Espanol. I hear the girl say the dinner isn't ready yet, and then I lose track watching Pugula and Navarro play tennis on the TV till Ms. Navarro wins. I'm not reading my book tonight. I'm remembering the warm hugs, the pudge of my brother, the love of little kids, the warming replay of memories that just don't fit in an American tourister suitcase. I tip him high, my tenor. It's all I've got to thank him. I shrug into my purple coat, walk back into the icy night. Do I hear him singing "Ay, ay, ay"? It beats a cardboard doggy box. Thank you.
Very good.
I'm glad you put the doggy box in. Thank you, Sue. David, would you like to read?
Thanks, Dale, and thanks for the wonderful readings. I'm going to read a poem from my book, Vitals and Other Signs of Life, which came out earlier this year. And in the spirit of the season, it's called Winter's Vanguards. Winter's Vanguards. They chide the trees for scattered leaf litter, bared limbs. Knock perennials off with a withering cold shoulder. And even frost annuals with a bracing glance. Mock the holly berries when they blush red. Without ceremony, wilt the garden into compost. Force moles deeper underground, stink bugs into house crevices, and desperate spiders to add antifreeze to their blood, then weave white blankets over eggs beneath the grill cover. The vanguards police the green earth, just following orders. The lead troops, winded, whip stiff fiber wool across my cheeks, commanding to push my bare hands into pockets and face the wall. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, David. Oh, what an evening. These are delightful. Nancy, would you like to read to us from Hawaii?
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I am reading from my book, Citizens, Voices and Faces from a Tectonic Landscape. And the backstory for this poem is that my husband Jacques and I had been living in Hood River for about 7 days. And this was in November, and we went downtown to Columbia Center for the Arts to an author's talk. And two guys this was around noon, and two of the guys sitting next to us in these chairs were talking about the fact that a cougar had been sighted. And they said they had to lock down the elementary school, and then a cougar in the middle of the day. And they said, well, it was by Lois Drive. And I realized Lois Drive was 2 blocks from where we had just moved. So this poem is called Cougar. All I did was cut through a few backyards, and somebody calls the cops on me? What is this? The animal version of driving while black? What are they going to do? Issue me a citation? Notice to appear in court, skulking around while being an apex predator. I should put my lawyer on speed dial. That's what growth gives you, more wildlife-human conflict. This was my home before it was yours. With forests and orchards' abundance of prey, we could easily keep out of each other's way. I did learn one human word. For, it means duck, as a small white ball whizzes past my head. But suddenly my best glade, with tall grasses and juicy rabbits, is gone. In its place, plunked down on bare ground, a row of houses marches in formation where I used to pass unheeded. Can you blame me for being confused? For these new people, the price of progress may be, do you know where your kids, small dogs, cats are? You should. But it may end up that I'm the one who pays. Thank you.
So scary. Thank you, Nancy. Sherry, would you like to read?
Yeah. Thanks, Dale, for hosting. And thank you, Koon. It was so good to see you after all these years. And David, I spent a lot of time staring out the window. This is called White Crowned Sparrows. If two white crowned sparrows begin fighting, brief bursts of wings, flapping loud chirps, does that mean they're in love? Once I dreamed that birds dream like us, dreaming that they are practicing their song. Is it true that we fight what we love? Imagine if our chirps sound like a white crowned sparrow song, or looked like a varied thrush, striped orange and black. Do birds fight in flight like we do on airplanes? If I were as lovely as a white crowned sparrow, I wouldn't mind if passersby heard my angry chirp. If we could see sound like bats, tremble like a leaf or a hand. When squirrels take over the feeder for seed, the white-crowned sparrows take their leave, but the song remains like a flickering light bulb in the yard. Thank you.
Thank you for the breath of spring. I appreciate that. And this cold and blustery night. Stella, do you have a question?
Let me see. I will read another poem.
Okay.
I think I read it the other time at the same church, but I guess some of us have not heard me reading this poem. It's called Yellow River. I guess we all know Yellow River is like Mother River in China or Father River, because there's another river, Yangtze River. They're both very long, the river, Yellow River and Yangtze River. So this poem is called Yellow River. I was there once. Went to actually to Confucius' birthplace, and this portion of Yellow River is very close to Confucius' birthplace. So we decided to go to the river, Yellow River. I reach with both hands into you. Are you a good shepherd? Will you give your life to save your sheep? Magpies gliding in and out the bare willow tree to their nest. Let me see. Trucks pass a grove of miniature pine trees mark burial grounds in the field of garlic, soybean, and wheat. Moonlight strums pine needles, while a erhu plays a horse galloping in the grassland. It is keeping the living and the dead intimate. Are you a good shepherd? Will you give your life to save your sheep? Approaching you on a pontoon bridge. The bridge traverses from Henan to Shandong. Two shepherds, one reclining, one sitting on the patchy grassland. A bamboo pole lies adjacent. White sheep grazing, I reached with both hands into the river, piercingly cold. The end.
Thank you so much, Stella.
Thank you.
Richard Lopez, do you have a poem for us? No, not tonight. Maybe next time. Ron of Ron in Maryland, would you like to read? No, not tonight. Let's see. Norma, would you like to read? No. What's with everybody? Okay, Stan, it's your turn. Would you please unmute?
Yes. Dream poem. Ordinary truths seem inexact, like bus schedules and personal perceptions. Such truths are incomplete, like unmatched dinnerware. They have a short shelf life, like oak leaves in the fall. These truths, like memories, are merely sketches, susceptible to distortion and decay. But truth with a capital T is undiluted beauty, never evanescent, and not of human origin. So,
Thank you, Stan. That was wonderful. Norma found a poem.
I found a poem. Okay. This is Old Woman's Spectrums. Trump wins, it says. She sees double as a bright spectrum of sunlight explodes its way through a pretty glass weight on the windowsill. Each color of the spectrum fractures itself into multi-cross-shaped patterns. Red shatters orange. Orange mangles yellow. Yellow invades green. Green interrupts blue. Aqua jumps out while purple slides in, and then there's light. Light all over. Stunned, unhinged, knickers twisted, boundless misunderstanding. Her consciousness temporarily buried in deep gray mush. 12-hour silence required until sleep, when she wakes up with either the truth or her own conspiracy theory. She knows the type. She knows the truth. He bought his votes. Those who invested in him bought America, the cheapest country available. His best steal so far. Suddenly, America is a population of disposable citizens. America has run head over heels into the tragedy of democracy. Consumerism, not enough of everything to go around because everything is too much. America's women given all there is by husbands trained to keep wives and children happy at all costs. Women trying to stay happy without autonomy, equality, and children whose wisdom and power is overlooked. What now, old woman asks? Guns, bombs, ashes, starvation for all? Kamala suggested lifting people up. Old woman likes the idea. Poets do it all the time. Dancers do it. Dancing, singing, touching, holding hands, listening, seeing, hugging strangers. Old woman can be sad and get down. Then spectrums visit her apartment when the sun shines, lifting her up into multicolors.
Thank you, Norma.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, I don't know your name, but I would love to hear you read.
My name is Isla Suzanne.
I
Hi.
couldn't tell whether it was La
Yeah, it's funny, but
Alea. Thank you.
yeah. Anyway, I have haiku. I hope you will accept that.
You can read your haiku twice. That's traditional.
I can read 2 haiku.
No, read your one haiku twice.
I can read 1 haiku twice. Okay. Ruth passed in the night. California quake and fires. Time to say Kaddish. Ruth passed in the night. California quake and fires. Time to say Kaddish. Thank you.
Please read another one.
Okay. Oh, good. This is lighter. Nice haiku morning. New chairs circle the table, looking for coffee. Nice haiku morning. New chairs circle the table, looking for coffee.
Oh, thank you.
I'll do one more.
All right, one more.
Oh, thank you. September full moon, wrinkled cherry tomatoes, all seeds and red skin. Okay,
Okay.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I guess it's time for me to read. I might be the last person. If there's anyone else who would like to read instead of me, go ahead. I'll read. And this, I don't know whether this was going in my erotic collection or not. Let Me Make the Bed, after The Love Cook by Ron Padgett. You know how this goes. I've made the bed thousands of times. It doesn't help if you watch. It especially doesn't help if you help me. This might take a while. In the meantime, pour us each a tumbler of Pendleton. Take off your socks. Better yet, all your clothes. Since you're naked, why don't you go take a shower? While you're drying off, turn on Dr. John and prance around the house. Check the late night TV. Somewhere in the world, someone is sleeping. Once the bed is made, lie down and pretend you're sleeping. Oh, you're asleep. Don't worry. I can make this bed around you. If you'd like to unmute yourself and thank our 2 wonderful poets, please do so. It's the end of the evening, and thank you all for bringing such great poetry. And thank you so much, David, and thank you so much, Koon.
Thank you, everybody, for letting me listen.
Thank
you.
you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Dale.
I have something to say to Koon and we were all together up in Seattle, weren't we?
Yeah.
We
I
were.
know.
I don't think you were there, Koon. I don't think Koon was there, Norma.
Oh, well, I thought he did a Yellow River poem. No? Koon did not do a Yellow River.
Was a
I don't.
it was a poem about rivers.
Yes,
Oh wow, you have a good memory, Norma.
yes, and you
The
had
river,
tea
the boat.
and Stella and Koon had tea together.
That's right. Wow,
And
Norma,
talked
your
about
memory,
China. I think.
really great memory.
Right, I do. And I'm old.
That's good.
You must be,
It's the
You
old
must be
memory that we
exercising.
remember.
Oh,
Oh, can I read one more poem?
If it's really, really short, I'm getting hungry.
Well, probably have to find it again, but
Okay, never mind.
Next
but
time.
it's kind of for the old men. Wait a minute. Here it is. If there are any old men here, this is
There are plenty.
okay. This is old old woman hankering for for old men and other things. A geezer, an old geezer. She hankers for a geezer with an arm and a hand to hold, his back to touch when he stoops. She would sleep with him. She wouldn't sleep with him because geezers really snore. But she'd hug him a lot, buy him a new shirt for Christmas he will never wear. They won't take off their clothes because old people get cold and sometimes they don't look very pretty anymore. It's different now, soft touch, remembering decades together. He'll feel emotions now with tears sometimes. It's not sex, but she thinks it's lovely. She thinks she likes to temporarily fall in love and does it nearly every day. You know, float around in a whole body smile. It can be with a certain squirrel or two ravens, a neighbor's cat or dog, caterpillars crossing the pathway. Old men are sometimes fearful of old woman love. They get over it when assured there are no expectations. An elder big house in my elder big house, people hook up into boy and girl friends. She thinks it helps everybody feel safe and secure. Trouble is, we die and get sad. She'll keep her love a secret and write it down for the record.
Oh, that's sweet.
That's sweet.
Love that.
Thank you.
I have a question, Koon.
You have another
How do you write your last name in Chinese? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello. Hi.
Oops.
We can hear you.
Okay, I'm just wondering, Koon, what's your last name in Chinese? Koon?
One, Samdim Shuida one.
Oh, really? One doesn't mean million, million? One.
No, one is a warm spring, water, warm spring.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, I see. That's your last name, Woon.
Yes.
Woon.
Yes.
Okay. Do you speak Cantonese or Chinese?
I speak Cantonese and Toisanese, yes.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
And where can we get your book if we want to buy?
Oh, you can
Just
buy Amazon.
Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon, yeah. You
Uh-huh.
can borrow from the library, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Ellen, maybe if you want Koon's email, maybe you
Koon.
can email each other.
Yes. Here's
Okay.
my email. It's very simple.
Yeah.
koonwoon@gmail.com. KOONWOON@gmail.com. koonwoon@gmail.com.
KOONW.
Just tell me we met
WOO.
here. Just tell me we met here. Then we can start up a literary correspondence.
Oh, good.
All right.
Very good.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Good
you so
night.
much. It was
Good night.
joy and very
Thank you so
insightful.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dale.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy New Year and all that.
Thank you.
Okay.
This